Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining. My name is Nathan, and I'm part of the institutional banking team here at ANZ, and would like to welcome you to today's ANZ Transactive Global Training webinar, where our topic will be service requests. Before I begin, I would like to acknowledge that I'm joining you from the lands of the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nation. I also acknowledge the traditional owners of the various lands on which our attendees are joining from today. I pay my respect to elders past and present, and to Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples joining us today. These webinars are designed to provide you with information and resources to unlock the full potential that ANZ Transactive Global has to offer your business. This includes a full range of institutional banking services, including cash management, data insights, loans, commercial cards, trade finance, and foreign exchange markets. ANZ has brought these together to create a complete omni-channel digital banking experience. Please feel free to post any questions using the Q&A tab throughout the session. We will aim to work through all questions. However, if we are short on time, we will be sure to answer all questions post today's session. A recording of this session, as well as all Q&A, will be made available for your review or for sharing with any of your colleagues who couldn't join us today. Okay, that completes the formalities, so let's get into today's session. The service request offering within ANZ Transactive Global allows you to submit, track and manage service requests in channel and be a single entry point into the bank, providing you with new and preferred channel to engage with ANZ, as opposed to the phone or email channels you may currently be utilising today. Let's go into the reasons why this is our preferred channel. The centralised single sign-on approach platform takes all the guesswork out and will route your request to the respective teams to action, or it may even be smart enough to action it within a matter of seconds via straight-through processing. It will improve overall efficiency, save valuable time, and fits perfectly within your existing support model and escalation framework. What's even more exciting is that it's available around the clock, so regardless of your time or location, you'll be able to receive ongoing support any time of the day. Before we start navigating around the site itself, I will provide a disclaimer and notify you that this is not a live customer site. It is only being used for demonstration purposes only. Please also note this is a test environment and it may behave or look slightly different to what you will see. Okay, I've just logged into ANZ Transactive Global now, and I'm currently on the main home screen, which is the default landing page. The site itself will be very familiar for most of you. This feature has been designed to have a consistent look and feel as the other applications already held within the platform, making it extremely intuitive and very user-friendly. On the left-hand side, you'll notice a few different options available. This will depend on what products have been enabled on your site, and therefore everyone's profile may look slightly different based on your settings. Today, we'll be focusing on the service request menu. In order to see the service request option in your navigation menu, you must first have service request activated, and an applicable service request role must also be assigned to your user profile. Once you click on the service request tab, you'll be presented with the main history grid, and you'll notice up to 4 sub-menus appear under the main service request menu, which are payments and transactions, digital channels, accounts and legal entities, and upload documents. The sub-menus you see will also depend on your service request role. So each menu does have a history grid that allows you to view previously submitted requests under the respective menu. This includes the request ID, the request status, and the request type. You also have the ability to search through the grid, filter your search, and rearrange the grid by simply dragging each of the columns. You can also save these settings so that it'll be there the next time you log in by clicking on Settings and Save. Today, I'll be showcasing a request from each of these 4 menus, starting with our newest service request feature called Generate Account Confirmation Letter. This is located under the Accounts and Legal Entities menu. Firstly, just some background on account confirmation letters. These are otherwise known as bank confirmation letters or proof of account letters, and will be presented on an ANZ letterhead, which will include details of your ANZ account. These documents are now available for you to download instantly, which you can forward onto your clients or suppliers, assuring them that they are dealing with or paying into your specific ANZ account. So to do that, we'll click on New, and you'll see we will be presented with available service requests relating to accounts and legal entities. Now, the number of requests you see here does vary between Australia and New Zealand. For example, for our customers in New Zealand, you'll notice only generate account confirmation letter. However, for our attendees in Australia, like you see here, you'll see generate account confirmation letter along with request account closing balance and requests under the manage statements and bank feeds subheading. So after navigating into the generate account confirmation letter link, you'll need to select an account that you want to produce a letter for by using this pop-up. You can select up to 10 accounts per submission, but for this demonstration, I'll select just the one. Once the accounts are selected, for the accounts that are domiciled within Australia, you also have the option to select what fields you want presented on the letter. This can be done using the field to print dropdown. As you can see here, this will default to both account legal entity name and account descriptor. However, there are options to have only one or the other, depending on your choice. If you're ever unsure what your account descriptor is, you can click on the View hyperlink, and this will display the account descriptor here, which we can see the value is test descriptor 123. If you ever needed to change the account descriptor, you can do so using the amend statement preference service request, like the note says in the pop-up. The amend statement preference request is also fulfilled via straight-through processing, meaning this can be completed as soon as you submit the request without requiring any manual intervention. So I'll quickly navigate to the amend statement preference request to demonstrate how easy it is. Once we select an account, select amend, and you'll see the account descriptor field available for you to edit. In this example, we have test descriptor 123, but I'll change this to test descriptor ABC. After typing in the new value, select save and proceed to the review and submit screen. Once I submit, a pop-up with the request status and reference number will appear on the screen. And if I click on View Request Details, I can see the amendments that I made upon submitting the request and the status of the request. Now that I have successfully amended the account descriptor to my liking, I'll now navigate back into Generate Account Confirmation Letter Request. And I'll select the same account. Now, once we hit the View button again this time, we can see the updated descriptor is now present on the account, showing test descriptor ABC. So I'll proceed within the web form and to the review and submit screen and acknowledge the important information before clicking submit. Once the pop-up appears, this just confirms that our request has now been submitted in the system. And as for the document itself, we'll need to wait for the request to go into successful status, which is the same messaging we displayed in the pop-up. If we view the service request, you'll be able to see a full summary of the request you've just submitted along with the audit history. The audit history will provide you with timestamps of when the request was lodged, as well as the username and the individual of who submitted the request. Since the request is now in successful status, the confirmation letter is now available using the download icon link. You can also use the download all button, which will come in handy if you had selected up to 10 accounts. And this will simply download all the letters into a single zip folder. So this is our newest feature to be introduced into ANZ Transactive Global Service Requests. As you can see, everything was completed on the spot and provided the full self-service experience. So please feel free to log in and start utilizing this feature for yourselves. Lastly, in regards to bank confirmation letters, I will also call out for accounts with a legal entity name that is more than 35 characters. We have recently made change so that the full name is displayed on the letter, where previously this was only limited to 35 characters. Okay, speaking of updates, we have also made some changes to the activate and deactivate bank feeds requests. Previously, if you attempted to activate a bank feed which required a username to be provided, and typically if the username was an email address, then you would have noticed that the web form didn't accept special characters such as the @ symbol or the underscore. So we have made some updates so that these characters can be inputted into the field. Staying within the activate and deactivate bank feeds request, we've also made it so that you can input up to 225 characters into the fields, which aligns to the third-party accounting softwares such as Xero and MyOb. We are looking at progressively enhancing each request to have them completed via straight-through processing. We have recently uplifted the delete account request to be processed instantly as well. You can find this request under the Digital Channels menu. And like the other requests, you'll simply just need to select an account using the pop-up and then proceed through the web form. Now, this will instantly remove the account from your ANZ Transactive global site. So I won't press submit on this one, but this one is completed via straight-through processing as well. So whilst we do aim to have all requests completed instantly, there are still some which are currently fulfilled by our teams here at ANZ, which largely include our upload document requests. So under upload documents, I'll click on new. And this will again show us the full list of requests available under this menu. As you can see, there are requests relating to payments and transactions, accounts and legal entities, and digital channels. So while the requests do require you to scan and upload a physical form, you can still manage and track these and obtain real-time status updates through the email notification, right through to when the request is completed. You'll also be able to view a full audit history and activity log. So while the fulfillment may not be as quick as straight-through processing, there is still plenty of benefit by submitting these using the upload documents feature. One tip we have for upload document requests, which you might not be aware of, is the ability to complete bulk requests by uploading multiple documents into a single submission. For example, if you need to attach multiple open account forms, you can do so by using the drag and drop function. So each submission isn't limited to a single form. You can upload multiple forms for the same request and track these under a single submission ID. Please just be mindful that each document cannot exceed 10 megabytes. Okay, another tip we have is the utilization of the general inquiries feature. So this is under the payments and transactions menu. If you ever attempt to lodge a request, but you're unable to locate a suitable request category from the list, you do have the option to submit a general account or transaction inquiry. For transaction inquiry, this web form allows you to locate a specific transaction, and you can include any additional notes or actions as required using the simple web form. This means if you needed to trace a transaction or place a return of funds request for a transaction type that you can't find in the other requests, you can do so using this feature. And like all requests, the benefits of live tracking and secure in-channel communication will remain the same. So those are just some examples of the service requests from each menu. The final installment we have for our session today will be focused on the service request permissions, as well as additional support material that is readily available for you to access. We will take you through our online help portal where all this important information is stored, which you can access using the help icon located at the top right corner of your Transactive site. Once there, you can scroll down to the service requests link, and a number of useful resources will be available for you to view. I do recommend you set some time aside to familiarize yourself with these links. There is a lot of valuable information here that will support you in making the most out of service request capabilities. A breakdown of each service request can be found under the service request types. And if we expand each category, you'll be able to see a description of the request and whether any approvals are required before the request can be sent for processing. So this will help you anticipate which requests do require approval before they can be processed. If you're ever unsure on how to create a particular request, you can select a category under the Create Service Requests heading, and a breakdown of the request will be available for you, along with screenshots and step-by-step instructions. For more information around permissions for each role, you can find this on the left-hand side under Administration. user management, then user permissions. So here we can find a full breakdown of each request role that's available. This will also highlight whether the role is ANZ managed or company managed, as well as the relevant service request menus that each role can access. So as always, we encourage you to submit any and all feedback you do have using our digital capabilities via the feedback link. Now that can be found on the online help portal just in the bottom right corner. Alternatively, you can reach out to your ANZ representative. Okay, we'll now move on to the Q&A portion of today's session. I can see a couple of questions have come through during the session, so I'll just do my best to answer as many of these as I can. If we don't get around to answering all the questions live, we will respond to all questions via the Q&A chat. So the first question I can see here is, how come I don't receive an email notification for all requests? So email notifications only apply when service requests have been submitted and require an ANZ team member to be to fulfill the request for you. So, for example, the general inquiry is a request which always routes to ANZ, and a team member from our operations team will always action those. So, in terms of notifications, you can expect those for once the request changes to completed, cancelled, or more information required. For anyone who has seen these notification emails, you'll also notice that they are quite generic as well. So we only display the request ID, request type, and status. The limited information we do display is intentional, just to avoid the risk of customer or account information being leaked out. So the content is therefore quite generic. And we always encourage users to log into DSS or to log into service request, I should say, to see the full and most up-to-date status of each request. For the requests which are done via straight-through processing, like we saw before, there is no email notification for those, given the fact that you can expect to receive an outcome within a matter of seconds for those. So it's only the requests which go to our ANZ teams. Okay, another question is, are there any requests that can help with direct debit transactions? Short answer is yes, and I can show you that now as well. So these are located under the Payments and Transactions menu. And you can see a submenu there called Manage Direct Debit Transactions. So you can do a range of requests. So you can block a direct debit user ID from debiting or crediting your account for a specific transaction amount. You can also request to cancel a direct debit authorization from your account. You can also dispute a direct debit transaction based on an incorrect amount or unauthorized transaction, or even request for a direct debit authorization agreement as well. So that's there located under the Payments and Transactions menu. Just to loop back on that first question as well, these requests do come directly to ANZ, so you can expect to receive an email notification for these ones once you submit them. Okay, another question is, what is the purpose of the Your Reference optional field? So this field is in the majority of our requests, and it is there to help you, the user, just to keep track of your requests. So normally once a request is submitted, you'll notice that it gets assigned a unique reference ID, which typically starts with the letters TG followed by a sequence of alphanumeric characters. So just to better help you, the user, identify the requests, you do have the option of completing this Your Reference field here. And how this will impact the request is once you've submitted the request, you can easily locate or identify this request using the history grid. So whatever we type into this field here, like I'm typing now, this will actually appear in the history grid. So for next time, if I needed to keep track of this request, I can see it there. So it is important to note that this field doesn't get sent to our ANZ teams. It's entirely there just to serve you, the user. Okay, last question. So under digital channels, there is an option to add or amend users. Previously, this needed to be completed via the Payments and Cash Management request form. Does this request have the same capabilities? And if so, assuming signatories can approve via their login rather than signing a PDF? Yes, that's absolutely right. So yes, under digital channels, we have the add and amend user requests. Now, this is entirely a digital web form request, so no paper forms required at all. In the paper form world, this would typically require the signatories to also sign the same form. So that concept of a signatory approving or authorizing this request still does exist. It's all just digital. So the signatories can just log into ANZ Transactive Global. They'll then just log in and then they can approve or reject the request. So if I was a signatory, if I accessed the history grid, I'll be able to locate which requests are in pending approval status. And upon clicking on those, the buttons for approve or reject will display on the top row. So it's important to note that not all users will have the powers or the permissions to perform this action. It's only those who are authorized signatories. Okay, that brings today's Service Request Showcase webinar to an end. I would like to thank you again for taking the time out of your busy day to join me, and I hope you found this session helpful. Just a reminder that a recording of this session, as well as all the Q&A, will be added onto our ANZ Digital Services Help website in the coming days, should you wish to revisit anything I've spoken about today or share with your colleagues. You can get there by scanning the QR code on screen or by clicking on the help icon next time you log into ANZ Transactive Global.